Hello Internet, Taliesin here. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset. Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdomshow in a week, where we are talking the release of patch 11.1.5 on April the 22nd. And yes, I know that's basically old news now, but it's old news that was officially announced about 6 hours after our last episode aired. So, good. Now we're all caught up on the old news and how it's not quite what we expected. Like, the content is all there, like, eventually. We're asking a very genuine and fair, if slightly internet-y question: have Blizzard dropped the ball on this latest patch? We're going to take another look forward at some of that new content. Last week we checked out Horrific Visions. This week I think we can probably take a look at Nightfall event and Dastardly Duos. What do you think? Before any of that though, let's head to Evitel for a roundup of the week's other news.
Welcome to Evie's News Rundown. Let's run down. The coming reset will see huge class tuning. This is mostly focusing on underperforming specs, so Blood and Frost Death Knights get some slight damage buffs, Augmentation Evoker, which apparently still exists, gets some more slight damage buffs, and yeah, definitely apparently still exists. Arcane Mage, Frostfire, Fire Mage, Brewmaster, Ret Paladins, and more, which this really isn't the video for, which is why, as ever, we've included links to the relevant Wowhead articles in the description below for you to peruse at your leisure. But it's not all slight buffs. Someone was not invited to the slight buff party. Disciplined Priests. I'm afraid your Oracle Easy Mode party is well and truly over. Dead spec, everyone reroll Resto Druid because no one in their right mind is going to invite you to any Mythic Plus pugs ever again. Okay, I'm doing that internet thing again, sorry. But yeah, predictably, Oracle has been reined in a bit. Wheel and Woes increased to shield absorbs halved, and Penance taking damage and healing nerf too. Tally says it'll be fine, but then he prefers Void Weaver anyway, so honestly, I probably wouldn't listen to him. Patch 11.1.5 news, and Goblin Cartel rep will be doubled in the new patch. Reputation from all sources will be buffed by 100%, meaning you can unlock all those fun recolors extra quick. One thing though, because I can see you're feeling happy and it's my job to shit on that happiness, that's every official cartel. Like every cartel that doesn't live in a secret sewer. Every cartel that it's not okay to just go out and commit war crimes against with a sniper rifle. It doesn't apply to the Dark Fuse. Sorry, Neocoat, you are just as far away as ever. And yes, I know that's the third episode in a row where we've mentioned the Neocoat, but I mean, come on, look at it. More 11.1.5 buffs, this time to corruptions. As you know, because you watched last episode, the returning Horrific Visions will allow players to acquire new versions of a selection of PFA's corruption effects, which can be applied one at a time as a helm enchant. Wowhead put out an article in the week which showed that those damage-dealing corruptions like Gushing Wounds, Twilight Devastation, Infinite Stars, and the like wouldn't have quite the game-crushing effect that their 8.3 ancestors did, with none of them resulting in more than a 1% damage gain overall, and only the stat-increasing Void Ritual being worth taking at all. Now, Blizz have announced buffs to these corruptions, usually of around 186%, which will make them a slightly less than 3% damage buff, which I think we can all agree is much better. Okay, fine, that sounds rubbish, and I agree, but it's kind of comparable to a standard armor enchant, so think of it like an extra one of those.
And so, to our next drop of War Within content, and the upcoming patch 11.1.5, now confirmed to be releasing on the 22nd and 23rd of April, or at least some of it is. Because while the date of the patch was no surprise, it's exactly the day everyone predicted, the actual release cadence of this patch did catch us all out a bit, and not necessarily in a good way. So, to recap, the main new features coming in 11.1.5 are the new cooldown manager in the base UI, the return of Horrific Visions, a new Hallowfall-based event called Nightfall, and Dastardly Duos, both of which we'll be taking a look at after this segment. I don't know about you, but I look at that list of stuff and I think to myself, oh wow, cool. That's a fair chunk of stuff right there. That's going to be plenty to keep me going for 8 weeks or whatever until 11.1.7. Good job, Blizz. Another massive W on the patch cadence for War Within. And now, to be fair, we always knew that not all of the content would be coming at once. It was announced in Blizzard's initial blue post revealing the patch that Dastardly Duos would be playable a little bit later on, and okay. And then, when the patch hit the PTR, the splash screen suggested that the Nightfall event wouldn't be a launch feature either, instead promising us the cooldown manager and Horrific Visions revisited, with Dastardly Duos coming soon. And like, okay? But this week, with Blizzard's official launch date announcement, that lineup has changed again. Because actually, no, Horrific Visions will not be playable on day one of the patch, which instead launches with the cooldown manager and the Nightfall event. Visions appearing a month later, and then Dastardly Duos making its debut 2 weeks after that. And you know who had something to say about that release schedule? The forums, of course. Where are the puzzling Cartel chips? Still don't want to tell us about the puzzling Cartel chips, huh? Cartel chips, please? The complete silence on Dinars is so confusing to me. Oh, wait, what? Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, actually, no. The first thing everyone wants to know is what's going on with puzzling Cartel chips, this season's Dinar equivalent, which will allow players to straight up just buy their desired raid gear from a vendor. This currency is a staple of fated seasons at the end of the expansion, where there's no new raid and it's kind of like the last day of school, you know? No one's wearing uniform and you're allowed to bring in games. Some kid always brings in his Mega Drive, which is awesome, but a stupid idea because it always gets broken. And like, a Mega Drive isn't meant to be portable, you know? It's not meant to be something you bring into school. At the very least, you're gonna lose your SCART cable. Just bring in Uno like everyone else, you know? There were 2 Cartel chips promised as part of the original incarnation of the Galagio Renown track on the PTR, which is obviously a big deal. We don't usually get this currency mid-expansion after all, but this was quickly removed. A later Ian Hazakostas interview with Naguura stating that they would be something just given to players in 11.1.5. Now, at the time of writing, we are still none the wiser as to where we're going to be getting our free loot, and we are basic bitches in this community. We love free loot, so this is obviously something at the forefront of many players' thinking. That is understandable. That makes sense. But this release schedule is definitely something to be concerned about too, if you ask me. I am a huge fan of the current state of WoW. I think if 11.2 is as good as 11.1, then War Within will have a genuine case for being the best World of Warcraft expansion, straight up. But on this, I do not disagree with people who suggest that Blizz may have dropped the ball, mostly because of the day one content, which will be a UI feature, a very cool UI feature, but still, and the Nightfall event, and the Winds of Change leveling buff, and nothing else. We've been playing a bit of the Nightfall event on the PTR, and, well, Evie, why don't you give us the lowdown on the Nightfall event real quick?
Sure, it's a WoW open world event. It happens every 45 minutes on the PTR. You get there for the start, you talk to the guy, you're in the event. There's a timer and you get given a bunch of tasks to complete, like defend against waves of skitterers, use torches to destroy corrupted Sureki eggs, free webbed scouts, and every little task you and the other people taking part in the event complete fills up the reward bar at the top. And then at the end of the big timer, a big insect dude appears and it's like slay the Sureki champion, and so you do. And they're going to drop some shards and crests and veteran gear, and you're going to build up your rep with the Flames Radiance faction so that you can buy cool rewards like champion track catch-up gear and all the spiffy new all-white recolor of the Arathi sets, and voidy recolors of the Arathi weapons, and tabards, and a mailbox cat pet. If you think that sounds a lot like Time Rifts, or the Researchers event, or Infusion Camps, or even the Theater event with added bug squishing, then you're right, because that's exactly what it is. The game isn't breaking any new ground here, but that's okay. These things are always fun when there's lots of people doing them, and are a great way to level and kit out alts, especially with the Winds of Mysterious Fortune buff that'll be active when they launch. And the rewards are good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Nightfall event. Oh, except the fact that it is kind of weird fighting back the biggest, most dangerous Sareki invasion ever, though. In the sunny golden glow of big, bold, beautiful light, Belladar? I think it would be much more dramatic and exciting if our shiny crystal boy was always voidy and purple for the event. The problem with Nightfall is just, it's the only new content in 11.1.5 for a month. And is that enough?
No, it's not. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. Season 2 is an absolute banger. Most people are still progressing the raid in one form or another. Mythic Plus is still in full swing, and especially good this time out. Yes, obviously Nightfall is actually, in reality, plenty to keep people occupied as a new side activity for 4 weeks, sure. But the practical reality is one thing, and the player reaction from seeing this content and thinking, oh cool, that's loads of stuff, that's really cool, to then being told, come play the new patch, we've got this one event for you to play right now, is, in most cases, going to be one of disappointment. Because of course it will. World of Warcraft, the Timegating within. Oh man, Timegating is crazy. Damn, that is crazy Timegating. The schedule has to be a joke, right? Timegating the content so much is a massive L. It's hard to have a big hype new patch drop when the first month of it is a pretty standard event. As discussed last episode, Horrific Visions are a big improvement on their BFA version, in my opinion, but again, there's a little bit of arbitrary time gating on your progress with those too, which after a month of waiting, that's probably going to rub players up the wrong way too, and I wouldn't blame them. And then when Dastardly Duos, the first real, truly new content of this patch, finally arrives, it runs for a month and a half. And if you are someone whose Shadowlands PTSD still makes you obsessively check the dates on every new patch release, like me, then you are already panicking at this, because that suggests that 11.1.7 will be releasing at the earliest 3 months after 11.1.5, which would make it by far the longest lasting middle mini patch since this format was established in Dragonflight. And that doesn't exactly feel awesome either. Now, as it happens, I don't think that 11.17 will release after Dastardly Duos finishes. I think it's probably going to hit during the event. Until Blizz come out and prove me wrong, it wouldn't be the first time, I still confidently expect that patch to land on June the 17th or the 24th. But I do think that Blizz have made a mistake in staggering this content so much. I think this strung out schedule has lessened the positive impact of the content in players' minds and created a sense of scarcity with a new patch, which should come with a sense of new abundance. I kind of think that bitty, fun, not mainline content like this is like tapas, you know? Everyone loves tapas, even though the portions are small, but no one wants it served one tapas at a time. It only works if it's all together. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't stop WoW being great right now, or A War Within being a top draw expansion, but you could argue that after the anniversary patch, this is potentially the second 0.5 patch in a row where a sense of positive and exciting momentum has been lost. And in this case, totally unnecessarily, because the content is there, it's not all there at once. I would be genuinely interested to hear your views on this, because I know a lot of you will feel like I've been way too easy on Blizz here, while I suspect plenty of you will think that I'm massively overreacting and being needlessly negative. I think you're all probably right in your own ways. Let us know in the comments below. But what about that final bit of content? What about the Dastardly Duos event? Well, I did promise you we'd talk about it, and we did have another round of testing on the PTR last week, and we were going to have a whole section today talking about it, but I apparently dicked up my recording software and didn't record any footage of the fights themselves, just the bits in between the fights, which is very stupid, like extraordinarily stupid, and I'm not going to talk about it without any footage to show, so this is going to be a slightly shorter episode than we planned. Sorry. I will say the event is really cool though. It's a fast-paced time trial arcadey score as many points as possible thing. It's done in groups of 5. You can do it in a group of 5 friends, but if you don't have 5 friends, I know that feeling, every spare slot can be filled up with your trusty NPC team from follower dungeons. So it can be a solo activity too. You don't have to watch other people and wait your turn like Brawler's Guild, and it's really quite addictive. I can see lots of people wasting a lot of time getting high scores and then standing on the podium in the public area showing off their scores. Something I'd like you all to notice, please, I did get footage of. So you see, I am a really, really good YouTuber, like really good. Hopefully there'll be another chance to get some footage again before the patch launches. But yeah, Duos is really good. It's probably the best content in this patch. It's a shame it's almost 2 months away from release. To be fair, I think that's because this is going to be a regular standalone event, more akin to, say, the Trial of Style than a patch-associated event like Nightfall or Horrific Visions. That's my feeling anyway. Sorry for messing up my recording, I feel bad. Thanks for your understanding, and thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give us their actual, real-life money to make all of our work happen. And patrons, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Kono Kronos. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evitel. Until next time, cheerio.